Hello everybody, Danny Music Man here, and welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you have had a fantastic day today. Guys, we're talking about yet another song that I would consider to be a perfect song. This is part 2 of the trilogy of videos that I'm doing that I'm just calling Blank is a Perfect Song series. And today we are going to be talking about Beautiful Boy by John Lennon. Beautiful Boy was originally written by John Lennon in around 1979. That's kind of when the demo was created. And then later on in 1980, right before his death, he released an album called Double Fantasy, which this song was officially released on. Beautiful Boy was pretty much written as a song of love and reassurance towards one of his two sons, Sean Lennon. Now, if you kind of know anything about John Lennon's sort of history, basically, you'll know that John Lennon had two sons, Julian Lennon and Sean Lennon, and Julian came first with John's first wife, Cynthia Lennon. And John wasn't really able to be kind of a true father because all of the Beatlemania stuff was going on, and he was so in the spotlight that he wasn't really able to be there for Julian growing up. So when it came around to John having his second son with Yoko Ono, Sean, he didn't want to kind of repeat the same mistake again, and he actually wanted to be there present for his son and to show his expression of love basically towards Sean. He wrote Beautiful Boy. John Lennon said at the time, "I was guilty all throughout the making of Double Fantasy. We had his picture pinned in the studio, and I didn't want to lose contact with what I'd got. We had the picture up there all the time in between the speakers, so whenever you're checking the stereo, he was looking at me all the time." So, of course, as you would expect, Sean Lennon was pretty much on John Lennon's mind the entire time making this song. And it makes sense because, like I said earlier, this song is written for Sean to say, hey, don't worry, I'm going to be here and you got nothing to worry about, and I'm going to be a true father to you. And kind of the whole Double Fantasy album is really an exploration of John Lennon kind of finding his new life, basically, with Yoko Ono and just his family in general, and kind of, living a happier and more simpler life. And instead of being in, the spotlight of, the Beatles and him he wanted to slow down and basically have a family. So real quick, right before we get to the analysis of what's going on, I think this is a tremendous song. It's probably one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. And it's totally down to the arrangement. I think the steel drums, the slide guitar, the acoustic guitars, John Lennon's voice, the entire arrangement is perfect. And if you go listen to the song, you'll hear that they actually use steel drums pretty much during the entire song. And this is the one time where, steel drums are usually meant for kind of, Jamaican music, because that's a very prevalent part of Jamaican music. But in this case, the steel drums in this kind of very slow acoustic song is really, really effective, man. I do just want to say, if you've never heard Beautiful Boy, go listen to it and then come back and you'll be like, whoa, that song was freaking gorgeous. And I will admit, this song makes me cry sometimes because of just the pure beauty and the arrangement of all the instruments kind of coming together. It's really, really great. I've noticed that when I cry to songs, it's never because of it's like nostalgia or it makes me think of something, but rather just how perfect the song is kind of packaged and arranged, and the chords and the way the melody kind of mixes in with what's going on underneath. I love it a lot. It's really, really great. So now let's get into kind of the meat and potatoes as to what's going on and what the chords being used are. So now, to see what is kind of going on, what theory is happening, what chords are being used, and all the really, really awesome, great chords that John Lennon chose for this song. So we start in the key. The song is in D major, just your usual sort of standard stuff. And the verse of the song is actually just two chords. It's your normal D chord and a D6, which if you take your ring finger off, this B is the 6. And it alternates between the two for the verses. And you pretty much do that for a while. I mean, the intro and the verse both go on for a bit, but pretty good stuff. Then for the main chorus of the song, after the D to the D6, he goes to an E minor, then an E minor with a G in the bass, and then an E minor with a B in the bass, which if you notice, you're just playing the fifth, but that's the bass of this chord, and you mute the low E. Then you go to a just normal E minor 7, which is this right here, that D. And then back to the D, to the D6. So altogether with the melody, and again, I am not a singer, so don't worry about how good or bad I sing. It's for demonstration purposes. So basically, the whole thing with the verse and the chorus and the melody on top of it. And that melody, again, I am not doing it justice, so you have to go actually listen to the song and John Lennon's great voice, but the melody on top of those chords is super duper great, and the beautiful, 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 beautiful boy over all the E minor chords is excellent. Now the next part of the song that is, with a bunch of crazy cool chords, pretty much the entire song is D to D6 and the E minor, G over E minor, B over E minor, E minor 7. The only other part of that is in the second chorus, going to the... Instead of going back to the verse chords with the D and the D6, he goes to a B minor, which is a very John Lennon thing to do, is going from, a minor chord to a minor chord to a minor chord, because he loved using minor chords and putting them back to back. So instead of going... Instead, he goes... And it's a very cool change, because when you're listening to it, you're expecting, but instead you're getting the B minor, which it starts to take the song in a whole different direction, which is ace, which I'll explain right now. So in this bridge kind of section of the song, he goes B minor. This is the Out on the Ocean Sailing Away bit. Out on the ocean. And that is a B minor major 7, I think. I could be wrong on that. Then he goes to a B minor 7. Then he goes to a just normal B7. Then to just a straight up G. To the D7. And he does that again and again. And instead of going back to the G, he goes to an A7, and then a A7 over G, F sharp over, or A7 over F sharp, then to an A7 over E. So the whole thing is and it's that this whole B minor, it gives such a hopeful tone, especially when it goes from that B7 to the G. It's a really nice resolve, and it's very, very uplifting. And this is what I mean about the reassurance part, is that this whole chord sequence, and what chord sequences just do in music in general, is if you choose the right chord sequence, it can elicit an emotion. So in this case, uplifting right here. It's tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous. It's perfect. If you haven't listened to the song, go listen to it. It's fabulous. I cannot do it justice just with me and an acoustic guitar and my not great voice. But go listen to it. It's absolutely fantastic. So the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is of course, John Lennon very famously died in 1980. He was murdered in front of the Dakota Building in New York. And I think 2 years after that, Paul McCartney was doing like this interview thing with George Martin, and he was picking different songs from different things, and one of the songs that he mentioned was "Beautiful Boy," and Paul McCartney kind of goes into detail about why he picked this song, and he thinks it's very moving to him. And instead of me explaining it, I'll just show you the video, but you can kind of see in the video him listening to this song, and he starts to kind of lose it a little bit. And it's tough because you can see that when he says, or when John Lennon sings, and your daddy's here, he kind of turns away because he doesn't want people to see that he's about to cry. It's very, very tough. So here's that video.
So to sort of sum up the whole thing, I've chosen one off John Lennon's record Double Fantasy, which I think is a beautiful song. It's very moving to me. Anyway, so I'd just like to sum the whole thing up by playing a song called Beautiful Boy.
He's on the run and your daddy's here.
So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time today. Let me know what you guys think of Beautiful Boy, and if you have, a different meaning of it, what it means to you, that kind of stuff. And I think this song is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just the way it makes me cry sometimes because of the general arrangement of the song is absolutely tremendous. And of course, this video is part 2 of a trilogy of Blank is a Perfect Song, so do expect the final perfect song video to come out in the near future. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.